Mozhaisk defensive line, west of Moscow. December 5th, 1941, 6:30 hours. The situation was desperate and had been for months. My name is Private Ivan Petrov, 316th Rifle Division. I was 20 years old, crouched in a trench carved from frozen earth, my boots filled with ice, my rifle fused to my hands by numb fingers that barely obeyed me. We had been retreating since June. Kiev, Minsk, Smolensk, and many of our great cities had been overrun. Now our backs are on the wall. We are defending the last great city we had, Moscow. There was nowhere for us left to go if we could not hold here. I felt empty, scraped clean by weeks of retreat, hunger, and the kind of tiredness that settles into your bones and refuses to leave. The guns began before dawn. German artillery rolled in low, heavy waves, shaking frost from the trench walls. The ground cracked like old glass. A man beside me whispered a prayer. Another vomited quietly into the snow. I felt fear crawl up my spine, slow and patient. Fear of pain, fear of dying frozen and forgotten, fear that even if we stood, it wouldn't matter. When the shelling lifted, the forest ahead of us moved, dark shapes, helmets, rifles. The Germans came on calmly, methodically, men who had been winning this war for months. I stared at them grimly, holding my rifle closer. "Wait," our sergeant hissed. My heart hammered. My mouth tasted like rust. Then he shouted, "Fire!" We fired until the world dissolved into noise. Rifles cracked, machine guns screamed. Men fell forward into the snow and didn't get up. The air stank of cordite and blood and something worse, burnt cloth and hair. I fired until my shoulder went numb, working the bolt by instinct. I saw a German stumble, clutching his chest. Another kept coming until a burst of machine gun fire cut him down mid-stride. Then a shell landed close. When the smoke cleared, our sergeant was gone. Where he'd been standing was just torn earth and pieces of equipment. No orders came after that, only the sound of boots and tracks pushing closer. That was when the line began to bend. A group broke through on our right, slipping between positions. If they turned inward, they'd tear us apart from the flank. Everyone saw it. No one moved. I understood the dilemma instantly. Stay in the trench and die slowly, or leave it and die faster. I thought of Moscow, of my mother somewhere in the city, of millions of people who didn't have rifles or trenches or choices. I made my choice. I climbed out. The snow was knee-deep and slick with blood. Bullets snapped past me. I fell, rolled, got up again. I hurled my last grenade toward the German position and felt the blast punch the air from my lungs. I don't remember screaming, but my throat burned. Others followed me, not because I led them, but because fear finally turned into anger. We fired from the hip, from the knee, from wherever we landed. The Germans hesitated. Just for a moment. It was enough. They pulled back. I collapsed behind a wrecked tree for cover, shaking uncontrollably, convinced I was about to die. Then something changed. At first, it was a sound, different from German artillery, sharper, faster, more guns than I could count. Then we saw them. Columns of soldiers moving forward through the snow in white camouflage, faces hard and calm, guns already firing. I could see one or two of the new T-34 tanks advancing with them. The Siberians, fresh troops, winter troops, men who looked like the cold belonged to them. They advanced without hesitation. Men barely looked at me as they streamed past to get at the Germans. The Germans faltered. Then they broke. For the first time since summer, they were the ones retreating. By afternoon, the battlefield was quiet, except for the wounded and the wind. I sat in the snow, staring at my hands, unable to stop shaking. My uniform was stiff with ice and blood. My ears rang. My head felt light. But inside my chest, beneath the fear, beneath the grief, something burned. Relief. Not victory, not joy. Relief that we had not been pushed back again. That night, fires burned along the line. The Siberians dug in beside us, efficient and silent. Someone passed me hot tea. My hands trembled so badly I spilled most of it. I was still afraid. Anyone who survived wasn't fearless. They were just stubborn. But I understood something then. The Germans had reached the edge of Moscow, and they had been stopped. Not by speeches or slogans, but by men who froze, bled, and finally stood their ground. The snow hadn't saved us. Men had. And for the first time since the war began, the enemy stopped moving east. That was the day the snow began to move forward.